wish I could hold my breath longer.
Now I'm getting closer than ever before.
These are wild animals and they're hunting and it's dangerous. Something bad could happen, but it's a risk that's worth taking for me.
That was too close.
There are so many interesting things that are out there in the ocean that are still to be discovered.
I can see it just under the surface right next to me. I gotta go over. They're getting very close, so I have to hold very, very still now.
Chasing ocean giants.
Jeff, I love your background.
Thanks, Patrick. There's a little diver right here, but you can't see him. He's behind the poster. Some crazy man swimming with sperm whales.
Yeah, who would do that?
Well, thank you for joining me today to talk about Chasing Ocean Giants, streaming on Discovery Plus. 8 episodes, actually. So tell me, Pat, how does one go from Wall Street lawyer to adventurer? I mean, that's got to be an incredible journey and decision in your life.
You know, it really was. I've got to tell you, there are not a lot of days, Jeff, when I look back and I think, oh, you know, I really wish I was at the firm till 3 a.m. drafting a 400-page contract. You know, being out there in the ocean with whales is really rewarding. It was something I always wanted to do. To be honest, I just didn't have the financial resources right at first to be able to do that. So being a lawyer first provided me a bit of a cushion in case things didn't work out. But my goal and dream was always to be doing exactly what you see in Chasing Ocean Giants, which is learning and discovering and sharing with the world amazing things about the world's oceans and its biggest inhabitants.
You have so many different episodes with different themes. So let's concentrate on the sperm whale episode, which I watched, and it was just amazing footage. These are huge animals. I guess you really concentrated on gaining their trust.
Yeah, you know, these whales can navigate the ocean so well, and even the best human swimmer, I think, looks pretty pathetic to them. I suspect that they felt sorry for me a lot of the time, flailing around on the surface of the ocean. So you have to do it on their terms. And gaining that trust takes a long time. You really have to drive the boat very delicately around the whales until they start to trust your particular boat, and then go in the water quite delicately with them until they start to trust you as an individual in the water. And eventually you can see in the episode that bond happens, and they sort of take me in with them and show me aspects of their life that you know, really no one's ever seen before or documented.
I think it was that moment where that one sperm whale came up to you and it got into its feeding position. So I think you were kind of worried for your safety at that point because I thought you were going to reach out and touch it. Was that on your mind? I thought you were going to pet it at some point.
You know, that whale is an interesting whale. I have seen her since we filmed Chasing Ocean Giants, and she actually decided that maybe just hanging out and looking from a close proximity wasn't quite enough for her. And she actually lifted me up on her head and was pushing me around the ocean, which was quite a fascinating thing to have happen. And it was that same whale that you see in Chasing Ocean Giants. So again, you know, those kind of interactions just have to happen on their terms. So I do worry if I had initiated that, she may not have been particularly receptive. But when she initiates it, no problem.
Oh, okay, that kind of behavior and relationship you have with her, you had to name the whale. There's no way you couldn't have. Not whale number 2.
No, it's Dolores, in fact.
Okay, great. Dolores.
On my quest to see sperm whales hunting, I've arrived at a scene straight out of a science fiction movie. They're like alien egg sacs, floating just under the surface of the sea. This is how sperm whales sleep.
You know, and there was a scene in that episode. It was right out of Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. You know, when the sperm whales totally stood vertical. I mean, it looked like something as you quoted, something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I mean, you get in with whales and you never expect, even the decades of whale work that I've done, you still are just never expecting to see something like that. And to have them just float like that in a big family all together, Yeah, it's just mind-boggling to see that in person. And these things you don't always get. We try to do a good job with scale in the show so that the viewer can really see how big they are, but they are so huge. And then to see something like that in a whole family, 7 or 8 of them, all just floating and hanging like that, not floating up, not floating down, just controlling their buoyancy right in one spot, really incredible to see. And hopefully some of that amazement is brought through in the footage.
Wow, that's moving fast, right past frame.
That's incredible.
Already, that's way better than I was expecting.
Oh my God,
That's amazing.
so incredible. And a head jerk again.
Yeah,
Again!
Yeah. She's biting something every time.
I mean,
and then
absolutely.
Guts are going past
That's
frame.
unbelievable.
A lot of their lives are extreme depths, and in your series, you get to actually record some of the behavior at 2,000 feet, hunting giant squids. I mean, to see your excitement, it was so thrilling to see how thrilled you are. We were too.
Yeah, and I think you can see, I mean, Shane, the scientist who's studied sperm whales his whole life, is equally excited. I mean, and all of that, I can assure you, was completely legitimate. We were not doing anything for the cameras. We were just 2 guys who love sperm whales out learning as much as we can about them. And the reactions on camera, that was time when we were watching that footage for the first time. It's not that we had seen it and we're going to act something out. That was us watching for real, and our excitement is absolutely genuine. It's not every day you get to see something that's never been filmed before.
And to think how crazy you are doing this, swimming among these huge whales. You're doing it free diving. I mean, there had to be times where you're like, I have to get some air. I'm going to miss something, right?
Well, I love it so much. And so sometimes my passion sort of outweighs my common sense. And there's been times where I was, really quite deep without realizing it. And then, because I'm so fascinated by the animal, I'll be so enamored with what's going on. And I only think to breathe when it's, critical, when it's like, oh, it has to happen now, I need to take a breath. And there's been a few times where I then looked up and realized like, oh, there's 40 feet to go and I need to get a breath right now because I've pushed it right to the limit. So there have been some times that were a bit close. I've never passed out, thankfully, but there have been times where I was a bit worried about it.
It's just incredible footage. And finally today, are you in relation to John Dykstra, the special effects artist that's done Star Wars and all these incredible, no?
No, I've seen his name before though. I'd like to meet him.
Patrick, what an amazing series. And I wish we had time to talk about killer whales, my favorite kind of whale. We'll do it next time, I promise. But just incredible footage. Congratulations. And we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. I'd love to come on and talk about killer whales next time.
Take care.